past 5:30. We do have a quorum.
Yeah.
You want to take a roll? Take a roll? So you know who's here?
Yes, well, I know everybody. Kelly.
Here.
Laney. Karen. Bob.
Karen.
Karen, the other Karen, and Liz.
Thank you. Good job. You got our names down.
So, approval of the agenda that's set forward and then modified somewhat?
I would like to add a discussion under new business regarding the view shed.
In the new business?
Yes.
Any objection? Any objection to having the chief come forward and giving a presentation? All right, chief, come on.
What would you like?
Shouldn't be discussing.
Right in the middle.
Whatever you feel comfortable, yeah.
Right
The
there.
podium would be good, because then we can see you
Oh,
on.
just sit there.
In the pit.
All right, usually I stand up.
We can't see you here.
I'm gonna keep it pretty brief and make sure I understand your time is valuable. My name is Josh Glass, I'm the police chief of Manistee. I've worked here for 18 years, I've been the police chief for 2 years. I don't have a formal presentation, but the purpose of me being here is twofold. Number one, introduce myself and make sure that lines of communication for this commission and the police department are open. If you guys need anything, make sure you reach out. How to do it, my business cards are downstairs. I'm not gonna kill you with a PowerPoint presentation, but just to introduce my office to this commission. If you need something, reach out. I was at the planning commission last month sometime. The police department and planning commission don't really overlap. I think parks and the police overlap a little bit. So this is who I am. You can stop in, you can call, you can email, my information's on the website, whatever it is. So bridge is open for communication. The second part is to talk about really my vision for beach safety in this community. It started last year. We had could have been a very unfortunate incident where a young lady saved 3 small children from drowning. And it forced me to take a look at what we're doing and you know, in a leadership position, you always look at what you're doing staffing, what you're doing equipment, and then can we do anything better? And so my vision for beach safety in this community is number one, we have a police officer assigned to every school in the city. And for beach safety, our police officers have taught beach safety in every school in the city, except for Casman, they opted out, and that's fine. It's a presentation that I worked with the Great Lakes Waterway Safety Consortium. We put together a PowerPoint presentation. We taught it from 1st grade to 11th grade, and we're gonna teach it every single year. Hopefully some ideas stick. With the young kids, you got about 15 minutes and then you lose them. And for us, it's not only a way to promote water safety, but to promote positive interaction with police and our young people. The second thing is I took a hard look at our equipment on the beaches to see if we could do something better. In the past, the police officers have used the flag system, and we've replaced the flags. Well, as you may or may not know, May, June, July, August is our highest call volume for a police department. And a lot of times we put the green flag out in the morning and we're tied up, and by the evening it's red conditions and I got a green flag out there. That's a problem. I didn't like that. So I looked at, is there a way we can be better at the services we provide to our community? One of the answers was Swim Smart safety equipment. Met with the city manager. I've been talking about this for 6 months with council, with Jeff McCula, city manager, and council approved the purchase of beach equipment, which was installed last weekend. Safety lights. If you go out to the beaches, I've got them on both sides of the beach houses. It's a stoplight system, red, yellow, and green. It's tied directly into the National Weather Service. It updates automatically. And it's really a 2-phase project, and I'm hoping to get to phase 2. I'm hoping to secure funding for phase 2. I don't think phase 2 is going to be available for about 12 months. Understand this system is a, it's not the word's prototype, but it's a pilot system. Frankfurt utilizes some form of it. Muskegon utilizes some form of it. Now we're a pilot partner. Great Haven's now in line. Lightington is getting installed this week or next week, so we're kind of leading the way for these communities. And what I just told you was phase 1. Phase 2 is they're offering, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a 911 call box on the beaches where the flag used to be. And you can push the button and it calls 911. We have an emergency. And I've got a life ring hanging right there. The vision for phase 2, if we can get there, is we have a life ring encased in a case. And when you pull a life ring open and remove the life ring, it calls 911 automatically. As you know, in a safety emergency, you don't want to call it. I've got someone drowning. It's time to grab and go. The second thing I like is that it has lights that are 360 visible on top the tower. So this is a pilot. That technology is not going to be available until next year. However, they are doing a demo in Grand Haven in August. I'm going to invite the city manager, Jeff McCula, probably the mayor and council, whoever wants to be there, to take a look at this thing and see, do we like it? Is it something that I need to explore funding for? So again, I don't want to talk your ear off, but two reasons to be here. Make sure you guys know you can reach out to me if you need anything, and just understand what my vision of water safety is in the community, and it meshes right with the Parks Commission. So we kind of pushed the fast forward button because I wanted to get it deployed for beach season this year. So I was appreciative of the council to greenlight it, and the city manager who greenlit it, to see if we can get it, and it's deployed now. So any questions? Go ahead.
Go, Karen.
Oh, me, Karen, okay. Hi, is there a way to do a public class for children? Because I know I have kids who are homeschooled, so they're not gonna
We
get
just held one.
by that.
They held one without
Did they?
working with me on it.
Okay,
They gave me 1 day notice, and I said, if you work with me in a collaboration, I said, water safety is in my vein here. So, do you live in the city?
yes,
You reach out to me, I can make it happen.
okay,
I
great.
can tell you, I don't know if you are involved at all with the Armory Youth Project.
I'm not,
I'm teaching there specifically, water safety. Reach out to me through email, we'll make it happen.
okay.
And how old are?
The kids, they're 5, 8, 12, and technically 15 as well, so.
This is a program that we can teach in 5 minutes or an hour, depending on age. We get into rip
Right.
currents and things, and typically I tell my guys that up until about 6th grade, you got 15 minutes, and then you lose them. So reach out to me, we'll make it happen.
Thank you.
Yes.
I went down to both beach houses
Mhm.
and I saw where they were located
Okay.
today. There are two, am I correct on that?
Yes.
When I was down at Fifth Avenue Beach, it wasn't really apparent to me,
Mhm.
and I walked around the building. When I went to First Street Beach, very apparent.
Mhm.
I like the placement of it, right looking towards the parking lot. When I was down at Fifth Avenue, again, there were two kids in the water, and it was a red light.
Mhm.
So I was wondering if they could see it, if it was maybe a different placement would be needed. It is far away from the shore.
Mhm.
I know it's new. Maybe a public service announcement for
Mhm.
people to pay attention, to look on the beach houses for the lights to see if it's safe for swimming.
I think you make some great points. We put a public safety announcement out already, but my experience is you really got to push the messaging. So I anticipate every month this summer, push it out. I've been on the beach myself to look at them. Again, this project started last year, walking the beach with city manager, CFO, Jeff McCula, Mickey, to get their input. My thought process is First Street Beach is a drive-through beach essentially, and typically you park and you kind of have to walk through one way. So if we put it on the front there, they'll see it going in. Fifth Avenue is not the case. A lot of people don't go through
I know.
so that's why it's more focused on the beach. We're gonna work with the company to see if they have different types of lights. And he says they're gonna look to improve the types of lights they have, right? What we have now is the best they have. I suspect they're gonna look at it as we get more pilot partners on board and see how we can improve the lights. I walked it and I thought it was pretty visible. I don't know if you got a chance to get on the beach and look at it. If you don't, give me some feedback. Okay.
I was on Fifth Avenue, and that's where I was like, oh, okay, that is kind of far away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw the kids in the water, and I was like, well, I don't know if they can see it or not. But that was my
Yeah,
concern.
we're still getting the messaging out. We'll continue to push it out. I went out there on Tuesday and I was walking. I had tie and dress shoes on, so I kind of looked weird on the beach. But I tried to get a different demographic. So I had some young kids. I said, "Hey, kids, do you know what beach lights are?" And they said, "No." Okay, they're right there. Do you know what it means? No. Okay. So do you know what beach flags are? No. So okay, never mind. So you have to keep pushing the messaging out. That's why I encourage our officers to take the beach players out there. I don't know if you know what the beach players is. It looks like an ORV. And we were out there last week and get out on the beach, interact, use it as a positive mechanism to interact, but educate the public about the beach lights.
Was this taught at school?
Yes. Well, I taught it 3 weeks ago and I told them beach lights are coming and now they're here. So with the little kids, green means go, red means stop, yellow means be careful. As simple as that. So they were given this in the schools. It's coming, and now it's here. So when we teach it next year, and when I teach it at the Armory for summer camp, we'll say, here's the lights. In fact, I can't remember her name right now, but she recommended we walk from the Armory down to the beach and show the little kids. Said, perfect, that's absolutely perfect, we'll do that. So our public, I think you make a great point, our public messaging will continue. And I'm hoping that with phase 2, it just increases public messaging.
Maybe some signage also along the parking lot, just pay attention to the.
Yeah, that's something we can consider, certainly,
Just-
yep.
Yeah, just something to really,
Well,
and I know.
I don't want to sound crass, but I always use this term. Sometimes you have to beat people over the head with it. I mean, I was a young person, and that's why I said we're going to teach this thing from 1st grade to 11th. And if they can hold on to 2 concepts in that time, we've won. So,
Yes, I agree.
anything else? Any other comments?
Thank you for researching and implementing such a good system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Certainly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Good luck.
Email me. Kelly has my information. I'll get with you on that.
Good luck at the T-ball.
Yes,
Thanks, guys.
yes. Make sure they run to first base.
So are we clear on the agenda adjustments?
Do we have to vote on the adjustments?
Yeah,
Uh, No,
yeah,
yeah, but we vote to accept the agenda.
approve the agenda as amended.
So are there any now adjustments that need to be made that we don't know about? Are they all written down?
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments.
With the modifications? All in favor?
Second.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4? Unanimous. Great. Well, the public hearing.
Jen?
Jen?
Yeah,
Oh, Jen is here.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Public hearing.
And
You can go sit in the,
Yeah, that would
in
be
the
good.
black chair.
Well, she's not on camera if she sits there, just so you know that. You can hear you, but you can't see you.
That's fine.
Yeah, the podium is the better. I tried to tell him that, but he
Just in
said-
case you need more information that I have more. Thanks for everyone being here.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
My name is Jen Teller, and we own 712 Harbor Drive here in Manistee. I'm here tonight to make you aware of an issue that we have brought before the Tree Commission and City Council at various times.
And the Parks Commission.
And, oh yeah, in the past, yeah, quite a while ago, in the Parks Commission, the request for a limb trim on a tree that's in back of on the south side of the tennis courts, would be the southwest corner. This oak tree, originally when the house was built, would not have been an issue for a view sight line to Lake Michigan. It would not have interfered at all with the peak view that we have from our back deck and our living room dining area windows. Well, over the years, this has grown exponentially long because it was stunted on one side by other trees, so out it goes that way. To try to make a long story short, we applied to the Tree Commission numerous times to have the limb trimmed back, and they said, no, we don't want to set precedent. And after a while, I decided to check with other cities along Lake Michigan to see what they were doing in the same situation. So I started calling all the cities, giving them the exact same situation as ours without mentioning where I was, what city I was in, just so that they wouldn't be confused or suddenly have a negative thought about it. Anyway, I explained it to them, and I'll just read a couple of the responses that they gave me. South Haven said they have an arborist, and we have had one request in 5 years for scenic view trim. People are referred to the arborist, who gives an opinion for trim, and the taxpayer pays. We have no tree commission. Holland, we can do it really quickly, possibly even today or next week, and no charge. We try to accommodate the taxpayer as best we can. We get requests for view trim here and there, not a whole lot a year. Muskegon Forestry Department, we have a $250 fee and no problem to trim in the fall. Ludington, I work with people as best I can to accommodate the taxpayer and meet their needs for view issues. Frankfurt, I'll condense this. Last year, the tree board actually went to the deck of a private resident and watched the tree trimmer as he did windowing of branches to maintain the view through public property. We work with you. Traverse City, trees overgrow all the time and we trim yearly to maintain them. Your circumstances are not asking for a lot. It is not a terrible request. We work with taxpayers. It is a big deal for taxpayers to maintain their view of water. We would put you on a list to trim in November. No other paperwork is needed. We do not have a lot of requests for view trims. Charlevoix, we require 2 trees to be given for any removal or trim done on public property. 2 young trees planted for just 1 limb trim is a much better deal for the community. Petoskey, trimming for view has not been an issue. We will help people out. People pay taxes and city wages, so we try to make people happy. Harbor Springs, there has been no overabundance of requests as the homeowner pays for removal and replacement for trimming. In 2010, City Council adopted a vegetative management policy for trees growing on city property. In cases where property owners desired a better view of the bay, they could apply to the city to start the process. The policy provides for the property owners who desire a better view to be allowed to improve that view just as they would if they owned the property. An arborist is used and the applicant pays. Even the state of Michigan, now called Eagle, used to be the DNR, allows trimming through public land for private property owners to trim for view of water with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Law, Natural River Act, Part 305, PA 451 of 1994, which allows for selective removal or, this is the quote now, allows for selective removal or pruning to maintain view. So even the state of Michigan recognizes the value of maintaining, we now call it a view shed, and gives private property owners the right to trim through public property to accomplish it. So even the City Council of Manistee in 2 instances has allowed private property trims through public property. One example was when the old Lakeshore Motel people complained that the new concession stand was going to obstruct the view that their people had of Lake Michigan. They went to the City Council. City Council agreed to move the structure on public property 60 foot to the south to accommodate a private property owner and their view shed issues. The other example that the city agreed with to allow view sheds through public property was the Harbor View or Harbor Marina people, condos on the north side, the ones that back up to Man-Made Lake. They had come to the Parks Commission when I was actually on the Parks Commission and asked us if we would give them $1,400 to eliminate the Phragmites that were growing along their side of the lake that was obstructing their view and their accessibility to Man-Made Lake. We said, sure, fine, hey, that's a good thing. So we sent it to City Council, they approved the money, and the work was done. Again, showing that even the City Council approves of maintaining view sheds to our lakes and rivers through public land. Now, why we've had a 9-year battle over this is beyond me. We've many times stated that we would pay for the arborist, and actually I have had 3 arborists now come to the tree, look at the tree, give their opinion for the trim as to whether it was safe to trim the tree and whether it would heal itself. They all said no problem to trim the tree. I did not pay for that. I didn't want to have them be saying, or anyone saying, oh, you know, she paid them, that's why they're giving this particular statement. And I have the 3 with me if anybody wants to see them. And the people that we used were gosh, I have to pull it out. Josh Shields, who is the top-notch guy. He came to the Tree Commission And he was one of the fellows that came and gave the opinion on the safety of the tree to trim, which he said there would be not an issue. The other fellow came to the tree commission this past Tuesday. His name is also Josh Roman from Roman Tree. He has his advertisement in the News Advocate. He said absolutely no problem to trim the tree. So, and I have those documented also. All those statements that I gave for the 9 other cities, they're all documented. I have their names, their phone numbers, just so you know, this isn't something that I made up. So why I'm here tonight is to ask that you would consider supporting me in this ask to show that that you would support a limb trim on your public property, to trim one limb that would restore our view, not create a view. This is something that has been an issue also. People question that. Well, you know, you don't own the view. Well, that may be true, but the state of Michigan even allows for private people to trim through public property. So again, I mean, if the state of Michigan is agreeing, I think the trickle down could maybe be something that you would take under consideration. Yes.
Does this obstruction block the view for other people?
Yes, it does. My neighbor, one house to the west of me, applied for the same limb to be trimmed June 10th, 2019. I actually delivered her request to the DPW supervisor the next day. That has, according to the bylaws of the Tree Commission, if they do not act on an application within 30 days, it's automatically assumed to be approved. They had met June 3rd or 4th of that month already. Mine was turned in the 11th. They had canceled their July meeting, and they met again August 4th. That's 55 days after my application handed in by Mrs., I don't want to say her name publicly. So therefore, just by counting those days, it's 55 days. So they were beyond what they were supposed to act on. That person, that private property owner, never got any response from either the city or the Tree Commission regarding her application. And all it says is to act. So what does it mean to act? What should the Tree Commission have done to act? To me, it's like you have to get with the person that made the application, especially if they're being denied. How would they know what's happening? That's a problem for the Tree Commission. They won't, they just like look over their shoulder when I bring this up. I really wonder why the limb has not been trimmed prior to this, just based on that alone. I mean, all the other stuff that we mentioned, just is like more support just for a simple limb trim. And we're not asking for topping of the tree, no deforestation, as that has been brought up. We would provide a new tree, which the city and the Tree Commission has begged for years. They're now getting a few. I think there was 42 mentioned at the last Tree Commission. So that was part of the issue. So all I'm asking for, I mean, there's lots more I could say, and I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I'm just asking for your support as the people have been working at First Street to remove all of the issues with blockage down there by the 5 cabanas. And they're certainly doing that to support people who drive up in their cars, can't get out of their cars, are handicapped, and they couldn't see the lake anymore. Well, the lady that I mentioned is also handicapped, and she can't ride around. She can't get in a car. She can't ride a bike. She can't walk to the beach. Therefore, she's also handicapped, and I would think that the Tree Commission, the Parks Commission, would want to support her being able to maintain her view. This woman is 97 years old, and
So
she's...
In your estimation, what would support look like?
Well,
What support from us, what would it look like?
yes, well, to me, support would be going to the Tree Commission meeting. This next one is in July. I don't have the exact date with me. In both verbally and by letter or email to the commission members, and there's 6 currently. They're down 1 member. Just letting them know that, you know, as a servant of the public parks, that you would support a trim for reestablishment of view that this house originally had. And it's not only on us, but all the river people, restaurants, all those people would want their view maintained. It's not just about us. Yes.
Have you shared the community responses with City Council and the Tree Commission?
I have sent emails to them in the past. I have not stood up. Well, actually, I did have 2 times I went before the city council, but it was just during public comment. There was one time I went to a work session, but nothing came of that. And I've just been sending emails to them. I try to include them in any things that I've been emailing to both the Tree Commission and the city, the mayor, and the new city manager. So, I mean, that's where it stands. Usually I don't get any response, but, you know, I know they're busy.
Well, I commend you for your perseverance. It seems to me that your request is reasonable.
Thank you.
Maybe if I was your husband, I'd have trimmed the tree a long time ago.
Well, that
Fine.
has been a comment we have heard several times. And let me tell you, just as Jeff McCullough has said, he's thought of it hundreds of times and zip, it would have been done. I really felt that because of the bylaws that state that you cannot, you know, do such a thing to a tree on public property, we just felt that we needed to continue to push forward, follow the law, and hopefully, because you have no written policy specifically dealing with viewshed issues, that one could be established or that it would be allowed to be done as a service to a taxpayer. We have over 100 years of paying taxes to the city of Manistee. We don't ask for anything. I mean, this is the only thing we've ever asked for. And, you know, as you heard, all of these cities had no problem with one simple limb trim. So,
Jen was one of
Yes.
the few, I think the only one, when the 4 of us were down there cleaning the beach all those days. And that is a very tough job. But she cared about everybody's view shed. And like she said, it's not a lot of local people. I was surprised the out-of-state license plate. We were down there 8 hours a day and looked at that. I was shocked, the people that just sat there with their Dairy Queen or their coffee,
Yeah.
and they could not see, and what a difference it made. And she cleared that view for those people. She took the trees out of the weeds, left the weeds by herself, pulled those, and made it possible to sit at some of those cabanas. And we have an issue at the beach. Many people commented when they saw her down there and said, hey, are you going to take those? And are they poplar trees? I'm not sure what they are. But you can't see to the south there because of the trees. So there is an issue with the view. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, we take the view for granted, but out-of-town people don't. They want to come to the beach and see the view. So, and Jen personally, individually by herself, did that down
Right
there.
on Lake Michigan, we should be able to see
You should
it.
be able to see it, yes.
Well, it seems like some cities, it's win-win.
Mhm.
You know, the taxpayer gets their view shed, and the city doesn't have to pay for it, and they get a tree or 2 trees or whatever.
And not only that, your taxes probably would reflect the fact that you can see Lake Michigan.
yeah, I've thought about that. I can't say specifically that our taxes are higher or lower or whatever if our view is, you know, retained.
I would think it would be.
I don't know if there's a specific value to that. It's kind of an aesthetic value. I thought it was real interesting that the Tree Commission wanted a definition of view shed because it had just kind of like been thrown out there to them. And I was like, well, the guy that brought it up either couldn't define it for them or wouldn't, and it got tossed to the Planning Commission. And because there were some other statements made about view shed, again, it was about, well, you don't own the view. And people were saying, well, just in these cases where the microtel, commercially zoned piece of property, and next to it were residential properties. And when that commercial piece went up, well, all the people in the residences complained their view shed was gone. That is totally different than what we are talking about. We're talking about trees, and that's it. No buildings, no private property to private property. And that's what the issues were that went to the Planning Commission, and they understood that. And then, therefore, they sent it back to the Tree Commission to make the decisions about view shed issues that don't affect already structured buildings or property, or if it's private property to private property view sheds, like what happened in Onekama. I mean, I can go on and on. But our particular request is only about trees. And the other comment was, well, what if the city wants to put up buildings? Well, you have that right. I mean, if the city council says, yeah, we want to put another hotel and it's going to block your view shed, hey, you know, that's their right. It's the public's property. They want to build on it, and the city council says, okay, well, you know, fine, we lose our view shed. But until then, it's not going to be in perpetuity. That was another word brought up. It's only going to be as there's nothing of structured, allowable, something to go down there. You know, so we've really tried to answer all of the objections that have come about over the years with this. I'm trying to think of some of the other objections. I think I mentioned them. Linda had some questions about many things. I wrote her a letter, kind of like trying to outline all of those issues, which I have with me, but it would take me time to read through that. And, you know, if you have any questions, you know, I'd be happy to show them, you know, email them to you also, so that you get an idea of anything else that seems to be a problem with a simple limb trim, like so many other cities are willing to do. Even the city policies have changed their minds, like let's talk about the golf carts downtown. That was never allowed. City council changed their mind because of a letter that was written.
Let me
Yes.
interject and say that
Sure.
you've done an admirable job in collecting information, presenting your case. I applaud all the work you've done. We can't make any decision at this point. It's a matter just for a discussion.
Sure.
You give us information. Later on, either by roundtable or another agenda item, we might be able to take up a more definitive action.
Okay.
So at this point, you could leave information for us. It could be recorded in our minutes.
I guess if anybody else has any questions.
Yeah, one last final comment. There was a compromise policy drawn up between or with our new city manager and the chair of the Tree Commission, and he felt it was very acceptable. It wasn't everything I wanted in my neighbor, but it was a compromise that we were willing to work with. I have a couple copies of it. I didn't realize I would be able to, you know, speak like this. You can read it, and they're still discussing it. And it's very simple, it's to the point, and it could be used as a policy to address everything that Manistee, you know, might be facing. Because there, like I say, there are other people, not just us. I think of all the bars and restaurants on Manistee River. You know, they covet their view. That's why people go out on their deck to see the river. You let trees grow up and take away their view. I mean, how would that be for Manistee, a city on a peninsula of water? You know,
It's like the beach.
it's a
Now,
big
those
asset.
trees, you can't see.
Yes, exactly.
Sitting there, you cannot see, so. no.
Yeah, same with other condos over on Manistee Lake and Man-Made Lake. So, you know, it's gone beyond just me asking for a limb trim and my neighbors. Now it's about, we need to craft a policy so it's preserved for everyone. And this policy that was brought about, you know, is pretty simple. Or there's a Harbor Springs policy to piggyback off of also that's very in-depth, and I don't know.
I think we need to stop.
Sure.
I appreciate
Okay,
all the
thank
work
you.
you've done and the energy you have here. I support your
Thank you.
your agenda, your
I appreciate-
objective, but we need to move on.
I appreciate your time,
Thank you.
truly.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And if you
And
have
thank you for your
documentation you
work
want to leave,
on the beach.
Yes, no problem. I'm sorry?
if you have documentation you want to leave.
Sure,
with
I can
us,
do that.
it might facilitate our discussions.
I will be happy to do that.
Well, that was a public hearing and public comments, I guess we did both at the same time. Is there anybody who wants to speak? I don't see anybody here. Nobody here, all right. So,
Well, there is one other person.
well, but she didn't stand up. Do you want to say something?
Because I'm the mayor and I'm on city council, I will reserve my comments for the council chambers when it's meeting.
And you're going to take this to council?
No, I'm not. I'm not because it's been addressed over and over again for the last 8 or 9 years. So it's tough for me to want to revisit it.
I'm sorry, something what?
It's tough for me to want to revisit it at this point.
Oh, it's tough to want to review it.
Revisit.
It's
And
tough to want
revisit.
to revisit it over and over and over again. Maybe I should make a couple of statements. I'm sorry, Jen.
That's all right.
I met Jen Keller about 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I was not on city council at the time. I was on board review. And she came to a council meeting with the issue about the tree line. And we
Here,
walked
here,
outside.
take a-
No, that's okay. We
No,
walked
you have to
outside.
be recorded and you won't be able to be.
She's right here.
It's right there.
Oh,
And she's on camera.
Yeah, that's fine.
We walked outside. I introduced you. I introduced myself to you. You introduced yourself to me. I told you I was a real estate person and I was also on board of review. And we talked about your tree limb, and you invited me over to look at your tree limb from your deck. Because your main contention at that time was it was hurting your property values. So I said, I would be happy to go over. And I did. I went over. I walked all over your deck. You have gorgeous views of the harbor. You have filtered views of Lake Michigan. And I reassured you that this was not hurting your property values, in my opinion, in any way. So that was my first interaction with you, which is fine. I know that you had discussions with the Tree Commission. The Tree Commission was established by a lady by the name of Pat Williams. And Pat Williams was a retired teacher in the Manistee school system. And she lived over at Lighthouse Landing. And she loves trees. She really did. So she established this Tree Commission. One of their very first members was an arborist on the Tree Commission. Now, I'm not really sure what happened back then because I wasn't present, but you did put in a request. And the only requests that they would honor would be the ones that were a public safety issue or a diseased tree in any way. The tree limb did not meet that criteria. So whether you got a no answer or not, that could have been their written policy.
Yeah.
But I think because it didn't meet that criteria, it's obviously a no. So just to revisit a couple points that you made, and I don't want to take up a lot of time, but we talk about what happened over in Harbor Village. That was an invasive species, and it needed to come out, and it was a problem. So that was something that's an issue for the city, so they were glad to take care of that problem. So that being said, I know that we also had one family over in Harbor Village. I don't know the name of that person, but I know he went over there and decided he needed a better view and cut down some tree limbs. He was caught, he was prosecuted, and he paid his fine. So, you know, the city takes it pretty seriously, and we respect the Tree Commission and what they stand for. So, as far as, you know, your view, you still have lovely views. You've posted them online because this is a second home for you. And you have advertised it online as a you know,
Yeah.
Airbnb, a vacation rental, and you've used pictures from your property of the lake and of the beach, basically what you could see from the fire pit area in your backyard.
Which is on public property, not my property.
Oh, it's not your property,
Right.
okay. But you also have, I've seen it in your comments that you have lake view.
A peak view. And
It
over
is.
the 10
And to be
years,
honest with you,
it keeps growing, you know?
I understand that, but it started out with you being concerned about it hurting your property values.
Right.
And you can still see the lake and the harbor. The harbor is beautiful. I
And it's muddled because of the big aspens, or I think, that are growing there. I mean, it's like anything, you know.
Yeah, I
I've not
understand
asked for
it
that to be
grows.
cut
I
down.
understand that it grows, but again, the policy of the tree commission has been, and they've been very forthright about that, as far as a public safety issue or a diseased tree.
And
So
that's the problem.
and
It
it's a
does not
problem-
address today's desires.
It doesn't address yours and a few others, I understand that.
Yeah, and
But
that's why I
the
just
tree
say we need a
commission
policy to address view, and that has
That
not
it'll-
been allowed to be done.
Okay, now we're getting into a back and forth here, and I don't think we should allow that, but I do think the tree commission is entitled to make up their own mind if they want to change their bylaws. And that's really the way it is. We can't force them to do it.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Well, can we have a discussion about approval of the minutes?
A bunch of us got the minutes back on 5/20. And I replied to Tim on the 21st, with some items that I felt were missing. There were 4 items added under new business. The Minger Grant comment under citizen comment could be moved to new business. Liz had added the day of serving and picnic tables, trash cans. Liz wanted to know if more cans were going to be placed, yes. And if the picnic tables would be painted over in the winter, no. Benches were painted. The field trip was set for 6/4, and that was probably the most important thing that was discussed there that was missing. So I sent it to Tim, and then I realized, oh, I didn't send it to the poor lady who was doing the work. So the next day, I sent it to you.
Dear Kate.
So, on the 22nd, I sent that comment, I think. I mean, I'm looking, it looks to me like I sent it, but who knows? So, that's why I really can't approve the minutes as presented.
Do you want to modify them?
Yeah,
What's your
but I
comment?
think they should be sent out to everybody again with the changes I emailed you, so we can review them. And then we can approve them next time, that's all.
Can I add that, has anybody received the minutes? Because I didn't receive any. So I
think-
couldn't approve them if I wanted to, because I
Well,
haven't.
it looks,
I just figured that
the
out.
21st, Robert,
Which one was
Karen, Corinne, and Kelly. So, yeah,
It didn't
Does it say me?
get to my inbox at
that's
all.
weird, okay.
I looked for it today.
I did as well.
So that, and then, actually, they went out twice.
Is
And
there
it was
something
Robert-
wrong with our email?
Well, that's
system?
what I'm wondering,
Is that Outlook?
because
What was the date?
5/20.
I'll look it up.
5:20?
5:20.
That's what she was talking about.
Yeah. So,
Could I have a motion then to,
I guess I can make a motion that the last month's minutes be amended as the email from 5/21 for approval at the July meeting.
is there a second?
I support the second.
A second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess NA means that there is no correspondence. Committee reports about update on the Lion Pavilion cleanup efforts. I'm sorry I was unable to make it there myself.
It was a great day. I mean, the Parks Commission really did an excellent job.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was Karen, Lainey, Kelly, and myself, and Dan came down to start the power washer and left
And Jen.
7 hours later. And Jen, of course, was doing the view shed thing. But I think a lot got
And there was
done.
somebody else.
And we made a difference.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lucy Gagstetter.
And
Yeah.
Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great group, and a lot got accomplished, and I think we made a big difference in a short amount of, not short, but, you know, and then Kelly
days
went
were-
back. Kelly's done more than,
But there's
Went
still
back
so
and
much more to do. I mean, we've got to figure this out.
Can we
because-
set a date where we can,
Yeah.
I walked down there just to see because I wasn't here for the big day of serving, I was on vacation, but the picnic tables look great, I love the color. Did you pick the color?
No, the color.
Turned out really
The
nice.
color came out perfect because it's
It's-
like sand.
it's
They were gonna do a
wonderful.
smoky
It
bear brown
blends
and
in.
it's sand.
But I
Yes.
I counted, I think, 8 tables that weren't done.
Because it was at that, they were being used for the water program that was outside the city. So they had reserved the pavilion for that
Is
day.
there a date we can get back and finish those? Because
We need to.
I can't stand to see something undone, but.
I agree.
I
But
would be willing to go.
Thank you.
If you guys want to.
We want to redo them. We
Plan
want
a
to do
day
those.
to
And a
get down
couple of them
and
need
finish.
another coat, they only got one coat, they would be. And then they do need to be moved back. There's still, I think we could paint them inside, we'll be careful. But I think they need to be under those cabanas.
And there's still one cabana that has to be power washed, and they all
Mhm.
need to be edged, and the sidewalks still need to be edged.
And that edging made a huge difference
Yeah, it
down
does. It looks
there.
very nice. I was there today. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous, you guys. I can
Yeah.
tell the difference.
I did ask Jeff McCullough about the black lights, and they are not working. I stayed up and.
You stayed up
I
good,
did.
Kelly.
They are not working. Usually I'm in bed
I told Dan we were going to set the alarm and go down and do that, so thank you, you saved me.
And I asked if, I don't know if it's just a switch he's got to flip, or I don't know. I don't know how difficult that is to get him to work. And then.
Because they would look really neat down there, those
Mm-hmm.
lights along there, but,
Yep, and they need to be painted.
yes.
And then,
Well, a couple other beach
Yeah.
things. There's a pole down there, like a telephone pole
Oh,
or
yeah.
utility pole that hasn't been, that needs to be pulled out, like with the chain by the city, and I'd like to see that get pulled out sooner than later.
Mickey isn't here today.
No,
Is he
Mickey's
still in the
not here.
coronavirus thing?
No, he was out today.
Oh.
I think we need to arrange the picnic tables, they're kind of just scattered down there. We need to have it so that the modern, or whatever ones, not the standard picnic tables, the traditional picnic tables, I believe, should be outside, and then in that building, they should all be alike. And, what was
I
the other
also
thing?
think each cabana should have the same picnic table
Yes.
too.
Definitely.
Yes, and not the old ones, I believe the newer looking ones. And then the signs, and it's a small thing, but no other town has it. The signs down at the beach, there's 2, and there's one at the fish cleaning station. The "Don't Park Here" sign, or whatever it says, is in the middle of the sign.
Of the pole.
Of the pole.
Right.
So either cut the top of the pole, which I think would be the answer, insert it more in the ground would, and then mount them at the top would be another answer, so you don't have to cut them. But to have them in the middle makes us look lazy. It makes it all late. Just put it in the middle and never finish the job. So if we could get those 3 signs down, the pole removed, the picnic tables organized, and I happened to see when I dropped off something at the DPW, there are some flower flats remaining there, and we'd love to plant them. I'm afraid to put them in a planter down there because they're currently stealing flowers from the cemetery, the pots out of the urns. So I don't know that they'd last at the beach if they're stealing them from graves, but we could put them right directly in the ground down there. It would be very pretty, just like right at the entrance. Kelly had suggested right at the entrance to the building. Just some petunias or geraniums and the flowers are going to go half price pretty quick.
So it does sound as if we have another workday organized
Yeah.
coming up. So
And then the portable.
when it comes
Oh.
to then,
The last request, Katie, and put this if you don't mind in the minutes, because the Porta-John down there is orange. And everything at that
Stands
beach
out
is
as a
red.
shell.
It looks like a hunting cabin thing. There's no orange down there. And I actually called to see if that was a big deal to change. And whoever ordered it, whether it was Jeff or maybe Kathy Boyle, whoever did it prior to, the city, whoever ordered it has to. And it's just, a guy goes, no problem, we'll switch it like with a beige or white or whatever.
Beige or green.
Yeah, not a lot of color down there. I haven't seen the green, so I don't know what green it is. If we could
The
just get
beige is
beige,
nice.
neutral, beige would be good, because the
Or
green
blend.
might blend.
Everything.
So if we could do that even before the 4th, it would look nice. That orange one looks out of place. Well, there's actually an orange one, and it's not as bad over by, I believe it's the tennis courts.
That one's beige, I think, too.
I think there's one beige one there. Where did I see the other orange one? But just the one at the beach. There's just one. Just do a switch.
And then we've been talking about Adirondack chairs on the water's edge at the Lions Pavilion. And Liz is the one who actually had the idea. And so I went and I talked with Jeff McCullough and asked him if we could do that, if we could have those Adirondack chairs be a memorial, and then we could get them purchased that way. and he approved it, and he actually purchased 2 of them, but they weren't the classic Adirondack chairs, so we have to special order those. So he's excited to even get those out there.
Yeah, he's just excited, and it'll look like Arcadia Bluffs.
Yep.
You might want to chain them down.
He's
Oh,
going
he will,
He's going to.
yeah.
So-
And are these the recycled plastic ones that are,
No, these are composite.
oh, so they are composites? so
Yeah.
they-
Right.
They will stand the weight.
Like the Pollywood.
Yeah.
The poly-
Just like those other benches that are down there now, along the riverbank.
Yes. Okay.
And they're being purchased by the, at the Comfort Center, so we're keeping it local.
Good.
All right. So in new business then, I will ask for a motion that we set up a specific workday. Can't do
Okay.
it during committee reports, but in new business, I can ask for a motion.
But we didn't put it on our agenda. So,
I didn't understand your observation, but I'll move on anyway.
Yeah.
Disc golf. Do we have anybody has any information about disc golf?
no.
Well,
Tim's not here.
I can give you some.
Well, you're not part of the commission.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
Tim has all the, yeah. Since he's.
I mean, the last I heard is that we're having trouble getting the baskets.
Right.
Because of
Back
supply
order,
issues.
yeah.
So that's about all I know.
Do you know anything about
I
that?
did see some of the cement pads are in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's about as far as we can go with that.
It needs to start planning process for dedication in the fall.
Okay. I guess that takes
So
care
I
of
won't
all of that.
dedicate it if we can't get the baskets.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, new business had the statement there that the chief of police, Mr. Glass, would speak, but that's already been taken care of.
And then I wanted to talk about the view shed policy.
And
So.
The round table.
Are we on a
No,
round table?
It was under new business. We added it to the agenda. Discussion regarding the view shed policy. I sent it to Tim and didn't get on the agenda.
well, before we do that, can I have a motion then in terms of setting a work day to go back down to the beach and do the painting we want to do?
Can I make a motion that we set a work day to go back down and finish our work?
There we go.
Thank you.
And I'd like to second that. Do we have our calendars with us? Do we have some sort of sense of, you don't
I
have your
don't.
calendar? Oh my gosh, you're the most important, hardworking lady. We need you there.
I really appreciated the reminders, though. That reminder email really helped.
Well,
that
I'll
you
do
sent.
that again.
Yeah. And, okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Send reminder email.
Do you have a date in your motion?
I don't, only that it works for everyone. Does anyone have a suggestion?
Are weekends
I don't.
or weekdays better for everybody?
I think weekdays for me, but if we all say what works best for them.
I had so
I
much
can-
going on. There just isn't.
Yeah, it's hit and miss, right?
Yeah.
Mine is up in the air still.
Everybody's is.
I
So.
want to be here. but-
The other thing is if we can't all do it the same day, if you can't do it, we have the stain, you could go down and pick up the stain, whoever has it, I have it right now, and just with a roller, go do it on your own, paint a couple tables.
Or go edge another cabana.
Yeah,
Right.
or power.
Or weeds.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have to all work out for everybody. I mean, we just need labor.
Yeah.
You told me don't say just labor, because that's the hardest part. And I learned that from him, and he's right.
Should
So
we set
are we
it
thinking,
now?
Does
are we
anyone-
thinking of June or July?
June.
I think
June, before the
June,
4th.
June?
Like soon.
Yeah, but this
Before
weekend
the
is
4th.
Father's Day weekend, so I
Yeah.
would say don't plan anything for this weekend, but next week, is anyone available? Anytime? Anybody?
I'd have to be earlier in the week. We got a family
Earlier?
birthday that everybody's
Oh, was
coming.
the 19th Father's Day?
Yeah.
Sundays.
Oh. I wonder if my kids will remember.
You might be surprised. They will.
Yeah.
Let's send them an email.
Right. Suzanne used to do a lot of organizing for everybody, but she's not able anymore.
Is anyone available on Monday?
I can't.
On the what?
Monday, I'm gonna be.
Not Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I could Tuesday, wait.
The
Tuesday.
21st?
I can't Tuesday.
Can't Tuesday.
Yeah.
I can't Tuesday, but if everybody else can,
I throw out a date.
Oh, Wednesday. Wednesday? Anybody
Wednesday's
Wednesday?
22nd.
What day can you do it, Liz?
probably Wednesday. Probably
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It's the
Anybody?
22nd, next
Not
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because today's.
'Cause
the
it's- yeah.
We're sorry.
Today's the 16th.
Is June going?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gone.
I think we're gonna need another gallon of stain probably too, don't you? I think that we need
Over
it,
8 tables.
yeah.
So-
Might as well get this
wait a minute, wait a minute.
Do they supply the brushes?
The
and stuff?
motion is that we're going to have a work day
Is
on
it
what day?
June 22nd?
Yeah.
Wednesday, the 23rd, was what we said, what time?
22nd.
22nd.
Wednesday's the
22nd.
22nd.
Okay,
Like 9 a.m. again?
9 AM?
9 a.m.
Does that work?
And there's a second.
Bring a lunch,
I
and we'll
second.
work till we're done.
So what are our goals for that? It's, we got 8 picnic tables,
Edging.
and we got edging, so we'll have to get the city edger, and we actually have power washing, if someone wants to power wash at Last Cabana, right, Kelly?
Yep.
So that,
Which one is it?
I don't mean you have to do it, I just
No, no,
want
that's fine.
what else needs to be done.
So
Oh, yes.
we're looking at
22nd, 9 a.m. You can be.
Edging, power wash a cabana,
Weeding.
and 8 picnic tables, and then weed the,
Jen, are you gonna be around the 22nd?
I'm hoping.
and what did you use? Did you just trim it below the sand?
Do you
How
have
did?
loppers?
Yeah, I had
She's like
a
a
little
machete.
handsaw, and then I had clippers.
Okay,
So I tried to get just like an inch or so below the sand.
because you did a good
know.
job, so
Yeah.
people can.
Yeah.
Okay, second item that we're gonna consider now is the whole question about view shed policy.
So,
Here's the policy that was, here's an,
I guess from the discussions, it seemed to me like it's, and it really belongs to the tree commission. But I guess I don't see why we couldn't like formulate a letter of support. Because I don't know why we don't have a policy. Because,
And things change.
you know, and to me, I guess I don't understand, because there is precedent from what it sounds like, not only here, but in other cities.
Number of communities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And why is it so difficult?
And I love the approach that they took. We tried to help the taxpayer. I thought that was such a, every one of them said that. 100% of the other
Customer
communities
service.
said,
And not only that, to have one more home have a view,
yeah.
I mean,
I think it's.
And it's not like you're
too
cutting
much.
down a tree, and each one is a case
Right.
by case.
And I like the idea, I think it was mentioned that an arborist determines.
Yes.
Because that way you know it's safe. And the other things we don't aware of, there's certain times you should be trimming trees.
Exactly.
You don't want
Right.
it to bring pests in or anything, and they should know that. You know?
And on the city's property, you know, between the sidewalk and the road, I've seen some of those trees cut with total disregard to the balance of the tree, and it's like, we had a friend that was an arborist, and he looked at that and he said, oh my goodness, we've never seen trees cut like this. I mean,
oh, because of
the utility lines, when they just come through, but there's no regard there for, so,
Yeah.
Yeah. Jen, anything that you have that you want us to look at, we can't really look at it right now. If you want to give it to Katie, then she can email it to us.
So without objection, I will ask we'll put this into the minutes. We look at it.
We're just gonna do.
so how did you say that, Lainey? You said make a
Well,
recommendation?
I'm thinking if we could compose a letter to send to the tree commission that we all sign, supporting a policy, not just because of this instance, it just seems like
No.
the right thing to do for the future.
Right.
I mean, as things change, let's say a development happens on Manistee Lake, you know, the same kind of thing. It,
It's about the tree, though. 'Cause
right. But if you take into consideration, you have an arborist do it, the
Oh.
taxpayer pays for that in addition to their taxes.
Anyone want to volunteer
It's
to
not
draft a
worth
letter
it.
for us?
Do we want to
I'll draft
suggest?
the letter.
Okay,
Oh, all
do we
right.
want to suggest that they purchase a tree in
Yeah.
place of the limb, 1 or 2? Or what?
Well, and if you can make sure I see the policy, and then, you know,
A suggestion.
yeah,
Recommendation.
and then
Go.
I can send it out to everybody, the draft letter, and then we can, you know, give your intelligent
Maybe you ought to send
input.
by
Thank
post,
you.
because number of us are not getting emails.
Yeah,
Well,
That's weird.
that's, because it didn't reject,
send out a test.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
and ask for an okay.
Okay, test email,
Yes. Yes.
okay,
And then we'll reply.
okay, yeah, that, draft a letter, okay.
Hey, great. I love this. We're just really humming along here. This is really nice.
I mean, that's the only thing it seems like
Very good.
to do. And then offer our assistance to pursue this. Because I think there's been more energy spent on saying no than to actually cutting the limb. More taxpayer time, money. I mean, I hate to say it, but it just, I'm
I
not
think
sure.
as a community, you want to feel as a taxpayer that you're supported by your community and not,
Yeah.
Sure.
you know,
Very-
you
Being worked
just
against,
want to
yes.
feel that people are working with you rather than against you.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to affect this, or you're just gonna go forward?
Go ahead, make the motion.
Okay,
But
I make a motion that
I write a letter.
that a letter be drafted and the Parks Commission review it to be sent in support of some kind of view,
More informed, more enlightened tree policy,
what's
tree
it
shed
called?
policy.
View shed policy for the city of Manistee, not for a person in particular, just that it should be done.
Something in line
Is there
with
a
the
second?
state.
Yeah,
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Have a
okay.
second.
Good.
Nobody have a volunteer to write the letter?
I did, yeah.
All right.
Katie, did you get all that? Letter will be drafted to
Yeah.
support, okay. Thank you.
Well, now we're at roundtable discussion, which I've never liked that idea, because I always thought we ought to go to TJ's rather than sit.
No, that's a, roundtable's good. I would like to start by thanking Katie, because I went down to the marina to meet with her, and it was supposed to be Jeff, but we ended up in the office. Because the marina is a park, there are some things that we've been trying to do as Manistee Proud, and I am now going as a Parks Commissioner, as well as a DDA board member, to see that the marina gets maintained the way that it needs to. And Katie has already edged the sidewalks and
I did.
painted some of the grills.
Wow.
Painted what?
Some of the grills.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Katie.
Well, hopefully I think they all got done. I mean, I didn't check to
Thank
see,
you.
but that was today.
So
That's
Thank
huge.
you.
this is very good news, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I mean, it needed to be done. It was like if we were gonna do
Yeah.
much, but
Yep.
takes manpower.
So I just want to
Thank you.
thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
No,
I was gonna ask about the March minutes. Did those get approved? Because I have this and it's kind of still,
that was the one where we didn't,
nobody found the, okay, so
That'd be
then,
modified and sent out again.
there's
Well-
no minutes and no video.
I know, nobody found the video either.
We almost need to go back over that. That was the meeting that every
almost
park
need to
was
have another work
visited. We
session.
need to have another work session and actually go over that
Who
again.
did the minutes? Because I wasn't there.
Jeff was the only one here. It was between you and the lady that resigned, Kathy. So it was
Retired.
Jeff, right, retired. Jeff took the minutes and he videotaped the meeting.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
your turn.
Well, I missed the
You're being
road
orderly.
trip,
You're
so
being orderly.
will
The
you
roundtable
tell us
discussion.
about the
Yeah,
road
I
trip,
forgot about that.
everybody?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Liz?
Well, and we should actually put that on the agenda to actually discuss it because we did not.
Right.
But-
This is where my minutes get, because people jump all over the place.
Right.
I'm just
Yes.
trying to- And that's why,
Yes.
I mean, I didn't review those. Because
I
like
understand
said,
that.
Just be vague and keep them, not you, but the other county. Just, write your minutes. And I'm like, they're hopping around and they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So that makes it tough for me. And that's why I kind of was like, well, where do I put this? I didn't remember that. Or I don't remember, I did not remember the date of the trip. And so that was, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I just
Yeah.
didn't have it. I knew you guys were planning it and it was like on
Yeah,
Saturday.
Somehow you
And I
didn't
knew
get
who was
it.
going, but I just didn't have
Yeah.
the date, and so, but.
So I
it's
sent
kind of all
it
over
to
the
you and I
place.
sent it to Tim. I
Right.
mean, it's nothing, I mean, it's easily fixed.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and you're new, I mean, and we are jumping around.
right, and I think you're supposed to stick with the agenda because
Yeah.
it makes my job easier, and so that's how I feel.
Well,
I can't go
yeah.
back and think about something that I didn't hear or didn't remember or didn't.
Well, it was part of the round table.
So
And
let's
then
put it on for
It's
the
still got-
agenda for next
even the
month
roundtable's
because there's a
still
lot
got-
of things we should
Is it
put on.
next month or is it 2 weeks? ago?
What is?
Our next meeting.
Our next meeting, whenever,
Next
let's
month,
put it on the
yeah.
agenda for that because
Right.
we'll mention it briefly. I thought it was good. What did everybody else think? It kind of gave us.
It was nice to see.
Raise the bar and what can be accomplished and it was amazing, and he spent, Rick Schulz, who is, they're on their Parks Commission, and he's also on their Board of Education, because they also built a huge park part of the school, and, because it's a consolidated school, but it made you feel that a lot can be done. And one thing that he mentioned, and I did call him back on that, because Jeff has been working with, I think someone had offered to donate some backboards and to upgrade our basketball hoops, which are used at First Street Beach. They had amazing basketball hoops. They were glass backed and heavy duty. He said, you definitely don't want the adjustable ones at the beach or in the public. At the school they work, but the kids are supervised. Anyway, I said, where are those from? And they're from what they use in prisons. So they're heavy, heavy duty that they will.
Institutional. Yeah.
Institutional be a better word.
Breakaway
That's a
rims.
better word.
Breakaway rims
The
on
rims were
glass
like this
backboards.
thick.
That's exactly
The
what they
rims
are.
were like, you
could hang on
it'd
the
be
rim
very
and,
hard to ruin or destroy those rims. So
Yes.
I just thought, I think we need to raise our ante and raise the bar a little bit. And I know it's money, but I'd rather have one nice hoop that is probably $3,000 than a bunch of little ones that are gonna last a year and have the rims broken off like they are now on some of them. That I think their stuff was made to last. They also used an architect. They had a landscape, not a landscape, he does parks design out of Traverse City, very worthwhile. They also used benches, but they didn't all have benches. They used like walls, and they had different seating things that was unique up there. Some of the things, so anybody else comment on?
They worked at not having straight edges as
Yes.
far as walkways. Everything had to have curvature to it to make it, it is an interesting. And
They
I
made
thought that
such
was-
great use of a very small space, and there was something for
yes.
everyone.
Yes.
There was a swing that they're, again, indestructible. And the other thing is Glen Lake, they had a swing, let me finish that. It was a cool swing that the mother or the older person sat with it, but then you put the baby right in front of you.
Yeah.
And so you were
Just-
swinging together. I'd never
cool.
seen anything
I
like
never
that.
seen it. That was
And
cool.
we were able to see things being used. The
Yes.
park is utilized.
Yes.
And so you saw, the kids running around, but there's basketball, there's pickleball, there was tennis, there's stationary workout things where mothers, they're facing, everything was well thought of. The mothers could face the tot lot or whatever they want to call it while they were doing, their little exercise workout. Then they had a little covered cabana area for picnics. I mean, they had it covered.
Did that gentleman that presented with, was there to show you around, did they design it or did they hire a professional?
They hired a professional with
Okay.
community input.
Ah,
It was very
okay.
professional.
Yes.
Okay.
So then they knew the caliber of the equipment, they knew, that's how they got I was impressed with the
Did
quality.
they give you an idea of the cost of the professional?
Yeah, no, the professional.
Not for not the design
The park
so
was
much.
what, 1.2?
I think it was 1.2 million.
What company did they use for their equipment? Did they tell
They
you?
had various
Yeah,
companies.
they used various companies.
Yeah, but it
He was
was,
going to share that with us, was he not?
yeah, we can get,
Oh, we could get that.
Well, maybe you could get the professional to design it. I mean, that's,
he already called me, that Rick put him in contact, and he called, and I said, how far do we want to go on this? That Rick would come down here and speak to our group and give us some ideas and questions. They are so nice. They are on fire for the parks, and the city is on fire for the parks. And then Glen Arbor is very unique, or Glen Lake, what is it, Glen Lake actually? Glen
Glen
Arbor.
Arbor.
And they had an outdoor ping pong table. And so I said, well, how do you check out the paddles? This is a for instance. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, how do they check out the paddles? Like, where do they go to get the paddles? And he goes, Liz, they're hanging right outside there. And I said, they're not stolen or broken? No, we've never had one broken or stolen. So there's such pride in that community.
Right.
And then they have cameras. They also have cameras, and I'm sure that they prosecute. If you grabbed one of those things, they have a very good high camera system, and that makes a big difference.
But they also had a millage for parks.
Yes, they did.
Yes,
to-
so they were
They had a
able to garner
millage
funds
to,
that way also.
to build that park.
And what do you
And then
say
everything was
cost-
private contracted.
Didn't he say it cost each household $11?
Maybe a
I don't
year or
remember the
something like
cost of
that.
it.
It was very low, yeah.
Like the bathrooms had a sign in it that if
A
if
bath?
If it's dirty.
the bathroom was
If it's.
like our house bathrooms. The bathrooms were amazing and they were spotless, but they were privately contracted. And if something was out of place, you called that number right in the bathroom. They're on call 24 hours for that bathroom. And if they go out of town, they have assigned that to someone else to take the call on their bathroom if they have agreed to the contract. So,
The bathroom was amazing.
mhm. So it was a worthwhile trip. And I think, I think everybody who went to it and we learned, it was almost
So
overwhelming.
was the three of you that went?
And Karen.
You
And
went?
And Tim.
Five of us,
And Tim.
Oh, Tim went?
We had 5. Yeah, it was but we should do this periodically because you can learn so much. To go just pick out a park and, we could do this again.
I
So,
suggest the little town of Alberta, their playground, we were just there yesterday. A little tiny town of Alberta has a fabulous little park. I mean,
yeah,
We did visit Empire too.
we did visit Empire
Yeah.
because we just want to see,
They charged for their.
they charge for their beach parking,
Yeah.
just to see what it was like. And so that was a worthwhile trip to go. We need to do that again.
Yeah,
And
we should go often.
They had some unique apparatus too. Some of the apparatus were things that I've never seen in a park before.
No.
From
Well, that's-
Sweden and, yeah.
Like when you hire a professional
Yes.
to design it, that.
And he's seen it.
You know, that's what they
Yeah.
have.
But it was utilized. I
So it
think the
wasn't
greatest thing was that there's
industry standard,
dads
you know what I'm
and
saying?
kids and moms and kids and couples and
It's cool.
pickleball and tennis and it's
And
going
there were
on.
Pub tables with umbrellas. So
Yes.
you could sit and watch pickleball or tennis.
I think,
Was there tennis too?
I think,
Just
It was
pickleball?
by pickleball.
Basketball.
So were the tables and stuff cemented in or probably not?
They are. well,
we had a little
are
problem with them and they explained that. Oh, another thing that they did
Oh,
that,
wasn't that cool?
they had outside, it's a very porous material, whatever it is, I'm not sure what, like a foot around the tennis court, a foot around
It
everything.
was under the tables too.
Under the
Yes.
tables, it's very porous material that you could just dump a bucket of water and it
Goes
instantly
right down.
disappeared.
Yeah.
So that the wash and the tables and everything were sloped so that there wasn't big puddling on everything.
That's
It
awesome.
was,
Everything was very well
Solar,
thought
they
out.
use solar and recycling also.
We got a lot to learn, don't we?
we have a very lot to learn,
Yeah.
but we have to raise the bar. I mean, I think we can accomplish it, Manistee's no different. It's a good town, we could make it better.
Absolutely.
And people visit the parks. Your parks are your, what people judge your town by,
I would
one of the
visit that
main
park every
things.
week.
Absolutely.
I would visit that park on a routine basis.
Well, I think that Rick, I met him in the park, Kelly met him in the park on 2 separate occasions, we didn't go together. And she goes, you met that other man, but they like hang out at the park, but they're doing things, but they are so proud of it.
Yes.
And then they're trying to acquire more land. They want, they are trying to, there's waterfront down there on the river. And they said, we need it for the residents to acquire some water on the river. So you could just go down there and read a book or have a picnic. So they're looking to acquire more so that everybody can enjoy it.
It was very inspiring.
Very inspiring.
I guess for me, thank you. Did everybody read the article about the 9th Street boat launch and understand that
When was it in the paper? It was in the paper?
last week?
I
I
saw
did.
it.
I must have.
I don't know. Yeah. At first I read the headline, I thought, what are they doing? But then once I read the article, the blood pressure went down. Because at first I didn't understand it, but it sounds like it's just designation. It's not like we're giving the land away. So then have access to more grants too. Is that correct, Katie?
Oh, with the Fricano piece?
Yes.
Okay, you get demerits of, they're
Well, no,
worried
it's a
about.
requirement
Yeah.
Yes,
to take,
okay.
to not.
So if you purchase something with DNR grants, from what I understand, okay, and it's used for
Yeah.
recreational purposes.
Yeah.
Then if there is somebody that needs to acquire a little piece of that or whatever, and the city determines that that is advantageous to them,
Yeah.
then there has to be a recreational
Trade-off.
equivalent.
Yes.
And that's where the 1 acre, let me make sure I understand this, of Morton Salt's 10 acres. And it's next to the 9th Street boat dock, do I understand this correctly?
I think that's about it.
And it has to be developed also, I think is part of that?
Well, I don't know about that, but it sounded like if it's designated, it helps to get grant money.
It does.
The only
For that
question I had about that parcel is, and I don't know this question, so maybe somebody else does. You know, isn't that right there on 10th Street where the new marijuana manufacturing plant is going in? I thought that there was a new plant facility there.
That old, I think it's an old Century boat building, am I correct on
Is that, I'm not sure,
It's
but
a
are there,
building.
I don't know if the DNR, and I don't know enough about this, I know you cannot put like a liquor store next to a school. Can you put marijuana
facility
manufacturing
next to a
plant
park.
next to a park? I don't know, and I don't know the answer to that.
I would imagine because it's operating already within the city limits, I mean, unless there's something on the
Yeah.
books.
Right.
You know, this is fairly new, I would say, to the state of Michigan, and that's a
Yeah,
good question.
I just don't know if they
Yeah,
want a kids
exactly.
park right next to it.
I mean, you couldn't put one on federal land, that's for sure, but
I don't know.
city
So-
land, I don't think it matters. At this point, I mean, that could change.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The other part of the DNR grant is if you don't do that piece correctly with the Fricano and everything,
Yeah.
then you get demerits of 50
Right.
points,
Yeah.
which is huge when you're going for additional
grants.
DNR grants.
So everything has
Because
to be
it,
planned
yes,
out.
now you gotta get 50
Yeah.
points up to get
Yeah.
that,
It
to even
was-
apply.
You know, like I said, I read the headline, I'm like, oh no, what
I
are
know,
they
I,
doing?
that's why I said,
So
I
then
think
I
I
read the
must have,
article.
which one are you talking about? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, but yeah, that's definitely, wow. Okay, that's it for me.
Yes, and that's why it's gonna be put on hold from what I understand.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's put on hold again.
yes.
Any other
Can I ask a
comments?
question? I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I watched it on YouTube or wherever that was. 'Cause I feel like I was here. But what do we know about Morton Park? Do we know anything about
Oh,
what's going on? I know that something took place at the last meeting, but nobody knows anything.
Well, I talked to Jeff briefly about it the other day, but there's really not any updates or anything.
They haven't made any
No,
actionable.
he's working on
On the list,
yeah, he's,
cost,
yeah,
budget.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was at 30,000, but it's all the way up to 65 or 70, what does he say? And so he's working on bringing that down.
Oh, the cost is up to 70?
Yeah.
And that's
So
just.
to do
one
everything.
Slide and a.
Swing set. Yeah, so, I mean, what did he say that one of the pieces of equipment was like, I think one was close to 4,000, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it ended up being quite expensive.
Well,
For
I'm
the
sure
equipment
costs
or just
went up.
everything adding up?
Yeah.
Just the
Everything
equipment.
added up.
Everything,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but,
I
so
think-
he's still working on that, and hopefully he'll bring that to us next meeting.
Yeah.
Are we meeting every 2 weeks, or are we meeting once a month?
We've been meeting once a month, as far as I know.
But I
Once a
thought we
month.
were gonna meet.
But we had talked about.
We're talking about
every
meeting
other-
more.
Because of the summer.
That might be better off in the fall and, winter
Well, in the
time.
summer, this is when we're working on stuff, though.
Right. I guess my point would be is if you could figure out how to get the summers, where you're all set and ready to go without having to do all the work during
Well,
the summertime.
It'd be great when we get to that point, but we're not there
I
yet.
know, well, we're moving that way, I get it.
So my feeling is that we do need to meet every 2 weeks
I,
until,
Well,
I agree.
we did it.
There was discussion about committees can meet, you know, in between.
As long as so many.
Yeah,
under 4.
yeah,
Under 4.
So we don't have 4.
Oh, I,
Mhm.
okay.
yeah. So, you know, there's,
But I think it's more beneficial if we're all present. I don't think that we can get it all done. I mean, I guess
agree.
you have to ask yourself why you're on a committee or a board. I mean, if it's not to make a difference, then why are you on it? You know, that's how I feel personally.
Oh,
But,
be bound.
I guess, from the amount of things on the agenda, because there really isn't much on this agenda. That until there's more items to discuss, I don't know why we meet again. Because there's really only, there's committee reports, but under new business, there was 2 things. And that's, you know, if we're gonna start a project or something and have a discussion, then maybe we need to be a little more aggressive on our agendas. So we know what we're gonna do.
We should probably be more aggressive. I think, Katie, you had a
Yeah.
good point.
Yes.
That, now what, to get it on the agenda, who do we contact and when? Because that's a good point. We
I think
should
we would have to
contact Tim.
contact Tim, but an email
and
Katie
then,
as
like
well.
a week ahead or something, or
Yeah,
what's
he
our?
sent it to me this morning.
Yeah, but you didn't get
Yeah.
what I sent him. I sent it on his personal email and on the city one, that I wanted the view shed policy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then he asked.
Oh, was that
And this
today?
was before he asked, so he must
I know
have
City Hall
forgot.
actually has to have these like posted like,
And I,
Yeah.
like a weekend
and
time.
Right.
I sent about Chief Glass probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I noticed it was.
So we need to copy you on everything
Yeah.
we send Tim, so you know.
That's a good idea.
And then don't wait for Tim to say, okay, because he doesn't, yeah, he's doing a million things. So, I mean, that'd be one way to approach it. Because at this point, I mean, I don't know what we talk about at a meeting in 2 weeks. And then there's the issue of who's gonna take minutes, because that's additional responsibility.
every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the break that I had the DPW and the tree commission.
So,
Well, maybe we just need
I
to
think
meet
you
as a
can-
committee.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we have.
I mean, she's been.
Yeah, I've done it,
Yeah,
but,
Another question.
and I don't mind typing them up and send them out or, you know,
Yeah.
all that, you guys decide.
Yeah.
but meet as a committee, I mean, isn't there a Morton's Park Committee?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Might be a good idea.
I know you all went around and looked at what we should
Yeah,
make in consideration.
yeah, I thought
for
you were
Morton
on
Park,
it.
And we went to the school.
The only one I
hall,
can remember is lesbian.
kind of informally discussed what we thought should
Yeah.
happen, and then we got, I think we even made a recommendation, then it got vetoed.
I've seen the list of
'Cause we wanted
apparatus
that.
to be put there, but that was.
Yeah, there was a
We
drama.
wanted to turn that, I
Yeah, I don't
thought,
know if you were-
into
Oh, I didn't see it.
a dog
You probably
run,
weren't.
and dog runs, and use that property as dog runs.
Yeah.
And I
And
think we
it-
did discuss it, and we went and looked at it.
You're right.
And then the next thing I know, Jeff decided he was gonna put,
And we
Click
didn't
on it,
ask,
click
now
on it.
there's an example, like in Glen Arbor, we did not go door to door and ask the community or the neighbors, you know, what do you want? Do you want soccer
that's
fields? Do you want a
important.
baseball
That's
diamond?
very
Do you
important.
want, you know, are there little tiny kids? Do you want tot
Yes.
things? Do you want, what do you want? We never did do that, and I,
That should be
Right?
something.
I mean, we had talked about that.
We had mentioned that we would wanted it in the paper or something to invite them to. a
Yeah,
meeting.
see what they really
But
want.
that meeting, that didn't happen.
That did
No.
not happen.
Yeah.
So he just said, well, we'll just spend this money and buy a couple things.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of,
so.
I know, I was on a disc golf committee. And I haven't spoken to Tom Oleg, who's kind of, was on the commission, kind of spearheaded that. And he's still really involved,
Yes.
but I haven't really heard anything because we're kind of stuck needing parts. So,
I have
In
one
terms
question.
of having objectives and you want to work hard for achieving those objectives, I've worked hard to be able to reposition and repurpose the tennis courts on Fifth Avenue Beach. I even convinced the commission here to vote in favor of repositioning and repurposing the tennis courts because they're not a functional tennis court.
Yeah.
The sand's in the way, you never control the sand, and little kids go around and play whatever they want to play on it. And I felt encouraged last year when Jeff took down the nets, but the nets are now back up.
Yeah, they are, and they're flat.
Who put the nets up?
Jeff, not personally, but on his own, or in terms of his, yeah, it was directed Mickey or somebody to put the
I
nets
thought
back
we
on.
decided we weren't going to do that.
Well, and
Are they being
'cause-
swept or people play tennis on or anything?
No, they can't play tennis over there. What are you
Okay.
talking
The
about?
net was swinging back and forth when I saw it. Yeah, so it's not even
Well,
attached.
sand on the
at
court is a
bottom.
danger too. when
Oh,
you're playing
yeah.
tennis
Well,
versus
Oh, you don't have a
Basically
sand sucker.
twisting an ankle or.
Kind of said to shut them down. That was our,
That was what the
that
vote
a-
was.
yeah,
That was our vote.
yeah.
So the sense of being frustrated when we try and work together to come up with good ideas, we're not often heard.
No.
Well,
Or we're heard and we're overlooked.
well, I
So I got
guess
really frustrated about that.
I put it back on the agenda, it has to get it.
Yeah,
on
put
the
that back
agenda
on there,
again,
Bob, because
Yeah.
And don't leave it off until it's,
Till we address it
yeah,
again.
The beaches are supposed to be one of our priorities, so I think that's a
absolutely.
good thing to pursue right now.
Yeah,
If you, Tim's in charge of the agenda, and
but
Well,
we
but
need,
now we're gonna. if
you
we-
emailed Tim and Katie,
Yeah,
Both
okay.
of them.
yeah.
Also at Fifth Avenue, they have done the paintings. Did anybody else go look at those on the wall? Did the city do that, or was that the concessions? Was it,
Concession, Kendra.
she paid for that?
Oh, I saw that. That's new, hey? When was that put up? I'm sorry.
Just last Sunday?
It was, okay.
Okay, so she actually put that up and paid,
I think she
okay.
had a friend that.
That did it.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Very nice.
are they nice?
Are they inside the shelter house or
Yes.
outside or inside?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you were saying there.
Murals.
You have to go
They
see
had
it.
like a mural on the
Murals,
wall
kinda like,
inside the,
Yeah, murals inside the concession pavilion.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I have one other question.
Oh.
What are we doing with the Minger Grant? Minger Grant?
Yeah, there was,
that wasn't 5,000 a month. I did call on that, but
Okay.
it's 5,000 a year. She explained it to me, but we should still pursue that.
I-
It might get you one basketball court. but
That's
that's
okay,
a
here's
mini
what I'm
grant.
thinking. The right field, no, is it right field or left
The
field?
baseball at
The
First Street.
baseball, yeah, has been knocked down, so we're gonna need
That's an
some
excellent point for
new,
that.
Fence.
Yes.
new, whatever that stuff is.
Copper thing.
Yeah, safety covering on the top of the. so
Well,
that
it kind of
might
needs,
be-
the whole fence got
Yeah,
drove,
still-
someone drove into it or
Oh,
something. That would be,
absolutely. But I mean,
That's a
not
good
only there,
example
But not
of
only
that.
there is that needed, so maybe with the $5,000 Minger grant, we can actually apply to purchase new, safety.
safety cap.
and that
Safety
5,000 grant doesn't have a cycle, and it sounds like they do it pretty quick. And like I called to see if we could come in and talk about it. And she, that 5,000 one, she didn't want to give you the time even. I mean, it was, she's very nice, super
Yes.
nice, but she just said, just fill it out, you know? And I get that, so.
Okay. Separate from a
So-
grant, separate from a grant request, does anyone know what happened to that, how it got knocked down? It looked as if a car hit it. Was it a
It was a
ticket
traffic
issue?
accident.
Looked like a car.
Traffic accident.
And was the person ticketed for
I believe so. I
destruction
don't
of
know. I didn't see the police report.
property? And we ought to get an insurance company to pay for it.
No, that's true too, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so why should the city have to absorb all that? Absolutely.
Maybe they are. We should, who wants, do we ask Jeff about that or ask Josh about that?
That's George.
Josh would know.
And do
Ask
we-
Josh, he'd probably know. I think ask him.
And do we know any more from Mickey on those people that wanted to buy the basketball courts, or the backwards? Remember you brought that up?
Right, Mickey.
Yes, he
Meetings
did.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I don't know anything.
I'll
about
ask
that.
Mickey on that. I'll call Mickey on the backboards.
Can I mention that the Duffy Park basketball isn't looking so hot either?
Really? What's wrong with that?
That some of the nets are torn and need to be restrung, and one doesn't have a net, and just, just needs to be. Likewise with the
Fifth
soccer
Avenue where
nets,
it's
Duffy
those-
Park
Or-
on the north side,
Oh,
the
those
nets
nets.
on
Well-
the
That's
soccer
right. We
are
used to
all.
do chains.
Shredded
He
and-
ordered new nets, soccer nets. I do
Oh,
know
good.
that,
They
because I
look
ordered
a little
them.
What about the basketball? We should.
Yeah,
Not
you
that I
should
know
look at the
of.
basketball at
Yeah.
Duffy. It's
Okay.
a little ragged.
And then back to that park rental. We were told, but as a Parks Commission, I wish we did, I wish we knew what the revenue was being
We do.
generated
Don't
from.
we have that?
Oh, was that? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I just.
We got a
didn't read it.
second sheet with our agenda today.
Okay,
Oh, I thought I got that on
excellent.
accident. I
That
gave
was
it.
quick and city.
I sent it back
That's
that way.
perfect. Oh, I just saw it. Thank you.
thought that was a
Excellent.
mistake.
Yes.
They did
See,
perfect.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So this is the bottom. I'll receive.
And remember we talked about, the neighborhood parks being sort of taking care of their own park. Should we put that on the next agenda?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, this is perfect, good. Thank you to whoever did this, Ed or,
Yeah, that is.
Ed or
Tim
Linda or
always
someone.
asks for, you know, if you want something on the agenda, he always asks us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should be ahead of time, because it has to be posted when? Like, I don't know, at
5
least a
o'clock.
day ahead.
5 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah. I think it should be 3 days, or,
Yeah.
I wanna say 3 days is the law, and so, you know, we could go home and email you and you'd have it, right? So. Okay. And next, in July, just so you know, is we elect officers again according to our bylaws.
Oh, the next July meeting, oh, God.
Yeah, the
good.
next meeting, so that has to be on the agenda. That's what our bylaws say.
Okay.
Aren't we a fun group?
Okay, so
Lovely.
next meeting is July.
400.
Now can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I find more
He
work.
said, please.
Okay, somebody else has gotta make the motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
We're
There.
adjourned.
All right.
Okay, that was official.
thanks, guys.
The next meeting's July 21st.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jeff.
all your hard
And
work.
thank you for your perseverance. I mean, it takes some, God, so much perseverance.
Thank you.
When is the next meeting?
July 21st.
Man,
Got it.
just recurring in the.
Are we off